on this beautiful morning. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous Saturday morning. Good morning to you. I've been very, very busy over the past few days, and definitely over the past few weeks, if not the past few months. But I just wanted to check in with you all, just to say good morning and to update you with what's been happening and let you know how things are here at Bealtaine Cottage. I'm on a retreat at the moment. It's a way of gathering up my strengths, shutting out the world, retreating to the sanctuary of Bealtaine Cottage, retreating within myself, retreating away from the craziness that's out there at the moment on social media, which of course seems to have a very, very charged energy of a downward spiral. I know that's a contradiction almost, isn't it? But yeah. Anyway, I've made my bed, I've made my coffee. Just push that stone back that holds the door open. And I've done a little bit of a tidy up, lit the stove. So I'm going to take what remains of my coffee now outside to where the boy is waiting for me. If I can find my wellies. Oh, I know where they are. They're in the porch. So I'll just pop through to the porch. Now come on, Jack, you don't really want to be indoors, do you? You want to be outdoors. So I'll put my wellies on. Yes, Jack. There we go. Now, come on then. Close the inner doors because it just keeps the cottage nice and warm. He says, I'm not going out till you go out, Mum. I am going out, Jack. Come on. Out you go. Come on. That's it. So, I've washed my clothes. It's my gym jams. Jack's very excited. Yes, I was on. Now, should I just let Jack have his little show? Okay. My wood pile is growing and growing and growing. So I've got that done. Continues to grow. Oh, look at the big pheasant. Did you see it there? Just fly off. So I've done some more work on my potager bed round here. Now I'm hoping to continue on with the other two beds that I'm hoping to establish. Well, not hoping, I will establish, I'll get them done. And I've moved quite a lot of the wood that I'd cut during the autumn from in amongst the trees, just to clear the ground, get that all fresh and ready for the growing season. It's a lot to see at the moment because everything seems to be happening now almost at once. my word, look what I see. A little bit of blossom there on the peach tree. Two bits of blossom. 3 bits of blossom. Oh my word. Because I've got 2 peach trees. These are the ones, you know, that grew from seed in the compost heap. I might have some peaches on there this year. Imagine outdoor peaches in Ireland. Crazy, isn't it? But this is the way things are going. Everything's changing. Change is the one thing that we can depend on. Still working on my little garden here. It's taken a lot of mulch, and so I'm laying the cardboard, cutting the willow or cutting the dogwood or collecting the dogwood or willow, taking it down to the barn, cutting off the big bits, putting the slimmer bits through the shredder, bringing it up here. It's actually quite a labour intensive job, but it's going to be worth it because it's starting to look good, and the rhubarb is definitely going to benefit from it because a lot of those chippings are willow, and of course you've got a lovely growth hormone in that willow. And I've been working over here in the compost heap, getting all that tidied up and ready for the growing season as well. Adding more up here, clearing all the willow over there that I cut back. The bird song is lovely, isn't it? So, I'll go in here. Got a little oilcloth now for the table. That was a little pre-loved one. Put some more plants in the tunnel. Got some penstemon down there. Added some more soil and some more compost. Well, compost really. Don't have any soil. But I've kind of shifted some about. I've also been down by the gate and the road frontage, and I've gone along and I've divided up some of the plants. So these are little bits of Shasta daisies. They're beautiful white daisies. I've taken a lot of those little bits and I've brought them up and put them here in the tunnel. And also some monkshood. That was growing over near the cottage, so I've got a lot of that put in. Just looking at the nectarine tree now. Oh look, there's some blossom. It's interesting actually that the 2 peach trees that are outside are a wee bit more advanced than this one here in the tunnel. Isn't that interesting? And I'm thinking it's because their roots are quite warm. The roots are just above the waste pipe that goes to the septic tank, which of course is now just a grey water tank. It's not septic because, as you all know, I have a compost toilet. Actually, there's some more blossom coming out on the nectarine tree. When this little tree is covered with blossom, she looks just beautiful. And you see where the branch broke off, it seems to have healed itself now. I've taken the wool off because the wool was covering that for about 1.5 years, something like that. I'm going to sit down in the chair. Still not in its final place, but it's getting there. Oh, it's That's lovely. I'm sure many of you have noticed that there's an increasing chaos on social media. There's a huge amount of sort of chaotic energy. It's very hard to pin down and describe, and I'm only just loosely describing it now as sort of a chaotic energy which has got unhappiness at its core. So there's more and more people voicing their unhappiness in sort of chaotic ways, you know, being a little bit aggressive or very critical of other people, or disturbing their own space, feeling disturbed in their own space, and sort of opening doors of chaos and just letting it all spill out. So it's very difficult to sort of pin down that energy and say exactly what it is. There's so much of it. There's so much unhappiness out there. There's so much disconnection from Mother Earth, which is the core of it, of course. There's a lot of people in turmoil, in personal turmoil, because they're not living the life that they know they should live, and yet persist in living a life of overindulgent chaos or self-righteous anger, a sort of a fundamentalism as well, which is not surprising. And I've said this before about reading history, because history repeats itself, and if you look at the fall of empires, this is what happens. There's an enormous amount of cruelty and victimization and depression and overindulgence. The pattern is there. The pattern is fixed. It's fixed into the history of humankind. So you don't have to look too far to understand what it all is. And here at Bealtaine Cottage, I feel I'm holding the space. I'm just holding the space outside of the chaos, trying not to get drawn into it, refusing to get drawn into it. So I'm getting increasingly reluctant to even venture onto social media. Because I know how important it is to keep this energy as pure as possible, untainted by humankind, because nature is not unhappy. Animals, unless of course those that we farm, are not unhappy. The birds sing, the sun rises and sets, everything is as it should be. Things that are not as they should be are the direct result of humankind not being kind, being very unkind, Maybe we should call it human unkind. So all I can do is what I've done for the past 15 years, which is work every day, serve Mother Earth as best I can, hold this space, because it is a sacred space. I think that any space that nurtures Mother Earth is a sacred space. And when I do venture onto the net in order to engage with social media, just to keep it to a very limited time span, so I upload the video, which can take anything up to an hour and a half sometimes, and I've got to keep checking it, so it does involve me being, online. I try to use that time to post on Twitter or post on Facebook. Try to get this alternative message out into the internet. I feel compelled to do that. That's hugely important, It's hugely important. There has to be antidotes to this chaos and this confusion. But sometimes it's quite difficult because there's a lot of people out there who are eager to hurt and have showed very little self-restraint in the way that they speak and the way that they speak about other people. I try never to bring any other person into this space. There are times when it's almost unavoidable, when there are people out there who are doing everything they can to destroy. Because of course that's another sign of the end of empire, this willful destructiveness. So the willful destructiveness of life, of Mother Earth, of relationships, of people, of the spaces that they are ultimately responsible for. But that's another sort of dirty word really, isn't it? Responsibility. Very few people ever say openly, this is my responsibility. You very rarely hear that. But this is the space that I feel responsible for. This is the space that I can do and work for and maintain and try to enhance and try to protect. And ultimately share. That's now become probably the most important aspect now of Bealtaine Cottage, is sharing it. Is sharing this space and making sure that this beauty goes out to the world. People will make of it what they will. I think that those who have an open heart will be able to see the beauty and be reassured that the beauty is there. And this is what I do. I just hold the space. I hold it and I share it. There's the honeysuckle beginning to come out. This is wild woodbine, the old name for honeysuckle. You can see it just clambering up through this old tree. These massive ferns. I tidied up all the ferns along the road. I cut them back and I took the big fronds and I threw them right in along the ditch, because of course the fronds hold the little seeds, the little spores if you like, and that's where all the new ferns come from. That's how they spread. This is a path I rarely take you down. I can hear frogs croaking. We'll have a little look at the pond. I'd have to duck to go underneath this wood. Blackbird just swooping along there. Little nest. I can just hear the frogs. Now, as we approach the pond, there should be quite a flurry of activity and you'll see lots of ripples. You can just see it over there. I don't know if you can hear them. Can you see all the rippling there in the pond? That's them all diving down. Ah, I can just see some down there on the bottom of the pond. Lots more frog spawn. So this little part of the pool is filling up fast. They're quite secretive little creatures. This is why it was surprising for that little frog to appear beside me there in the tunnel the other day. Come on, Jack. And just a reminder of the books that are published by the Bealtaine Cottage Press. Just a very small selection, as you all know. But book sales have dropped off recently, which is understandable because just after Christmas, January, February, can be difficult months for people. But if you can see your way to purchasing a book or a map, then that would be fantastic. It'll help me out a lot. The chestnut tree. No, I think that the video has come to its natural end, so I can't go further than 30 minutes on this. So I'll just say blessings to you all. And understand if I'm a little bit sparse on social media at the moment, because I am trying quite hard just to keep my sanity in this crazy world and hold this space and not to be too influenced by the chaos that's out there and that can come rushing in when you open up that portal to the internet. Thank you to all of you who support Bealtaine Cottage and the Bealtaine project, and blessings to you all.